Welcome to Reinventing Capitalism, where tech, social entrepreneurship, and impact intersect. I'm your host, Claudia Thomas. Today, we have Carlota Pi, co-founder and CEO of HolaLuz, a company that is building the biggest green energy community in Europe by scaling solar panels and storage of renewable energy. Carlota Pi holds degrees in both engineering and mathematics and brings more than 15 years of experience in the energy sector. She founded HolaLuz in 2011 and has been considered as one of the top women leaders in Spain and also in Europe. First, we talk about the problem that HolaLuz is solving, the key milestones of the company and their most recent 22 million euro investment. Then we talk about talent and we discuss the key elements that Carlota hires for and the huge opportunity that working on renewable energy presents. Finally, we discuss how leaders can assure there's gender equality in their companies. And she brings to light the untold truth about being a successful mom and a successful professional at the same time. With 20 million in recurring revenue per month and more than 300,000 customers, they are leading the transition to what they call the Rooftop revolution. Let's dive in. Carlota, how are you?
Very fine. Thank you, Claudia. Thanks for having me here in your podcast.
Thank you for accepting my invitation. You know that I've been thinking a lot about energy, and energy is a very big word. And I am personally fascinated by the concept that we are run by subatomic particles, that everything is energy, and that we can actually manifest things based on this principle. And that's why I am intrigued by it. I was wondering what intrigued you from the world of energy when you first started studying it.
Well, I would say that more or less the same that you were talking about, because when I first joined the engineering school in Barcelona, I found out about energy and I thought that that was the closest thing that I've ever learned that was closer to magic, no? Because of that, no? Because you are run by subatomic particles that you've never seen, that nobody's never seen them before, and that you have to have this leap of faith sometimes to just trust and believe on what are the interactions and the energy that sticks those subatomic particles together, right?
Mhm.
And this, for an engineering and creative mind that I had by that time and still have, hopefully, was a revelation, no? And that's why I decided to dig deeper into the energy world, and this is where I am.
I love that we coincide on that aspect. So let's get into the problem that HolaLuz is solving. It might be a very obvious question, but considering the state of the world, I guess I'm going to ask it regardless. What is the problem that HolaLuz is addressing?
So as we were mentioning before, people, we are energy, and energy evolution or energy disruptions have been at the backbone of every single leap step of the humankind, no? The discovery of the fire, the steam machine, no? Electricity. And we are now at the verge of a very, very tipping point, a very important point, that is that all what we've done before has caused a problem that seems quite difficult to solve, but it's not, which is climate change. And this is what we are solving for now. No? We are developing technology for allowing the planet to become 100% greener by connecting people to green energy throughout this technology. And this is quite easy. We do not need to wait for any invention, any next high developed molecule from an MIT lab at all. We only need to take and wisely use the energy that the sun, the biggest fusion reactor that never known to humankind, is sending us on an instantaneous basis, and transform this energy into something that we can use, which is green electricity, and electrify our energy demand, and then the problem is going to be completely solved quite easily.
You make it sound so easy. Tell us a bit more about that. So now that you just explained like how to use this energy, what does HolaLuz really do? Like what is the product or service that you offer?
We at HolaLuz, we are developing an energy management platform, a tech platform, that is meant to connect independent power producers in one side, all sorts of green producers, mainly at the beginning, we started only with at-scale producers, so green producers like wind farms or solar farms, hydro, biomass, biogas. And throughout this energy management platform, we connect them to residential customers all across Spain. What we realized 5 years ago when we first launched the Rooftop Revolution, it was that it was not enough to just connect those professional or at-scale producers with residential customers, because we were overlooking something very valuable, that is the rooftops that receive on a yearly basis 1,400 hours per year of sun. In Spain, that makes us one of the most sunniest countries in Europe.
Of course.
I realized. Since those rooftops are exactly at the very same place where this electricity is going to be needed, if we were able to develop a product and a technology to connect that product that allowed this rooftop not only to serve or to supply the family that lives underneath that rooftop, but that can power up the whole community around that rooftop by using the connection, the distribution, the proximity network, we could have something very transformational. And this is what we are up to. In Spain, we have 10 million residential rooftops that are technically suitable to be transformed into green energy, not only for themselves, but for their communities around them. And what we do is we develop that technology that allows to connect those intelligent installations, now not only by producing, but also for storing, thanks to a home battery. Use this production for sourcing, for powering up the residential customers around those rooftops. We call it a revolution really because it's very transformational. Because by means of these 10 million rooftops that I was talking about before, if we multiply that by 5 kilowatts on average that we can install, so our installations are now a bit bigger, but just take a lower number, it will create 50 gigas of new capacity, new installed capacity, that compares with 100 gigas that we have as of today in the whole Iberian Peninsula, meaning that this is a plus 50%, plus 50% new potential production, 100% green, super efficient because it gets produced and consumed and managed and stored in the very same place where it's going to be used. And also it frees up bandwidth in the transportation network that the industry and the heavy users of electricity are going to need. No? Therefore, it's completely transformational for everybody, for the system, for the customers, and of course, our ultimate stakeholder, which is the planet.
For sure. So you just said that the renewable energy is transformed in the same grids that traditional electricity it's transported?
Of course it is, because I'm going to use an example. It's like same thing as when you're going to withdraw some money on an ATM, yeah? Those bills that you're getting, you don't expect them to be exactly the same ones that you put in to your bank account, right? Because you trust the system, no? You trust an accountability system that tells you that those bills are exactly, they do belong to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Electricity happens the same, because once electricity is produced, regardless of what's the origin, the first origin of that electricity, meaning the primary energy, the electricity is the same, because there are subatomic particles, there are electrons that are traveling across the network, the cables, the wires. No, that's why once they are there, are completely undistinguishable one from another. No, they do not.
Okay.
But you need to trust that the ones that you are using are coming from the sources that you are
buying from.
Supposing exactly that you are buying from.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And about the community, can producers of energy buy and sell energy? So is it that a revenue model for your clients?
This is exactly what we do. So we enable that to happen because we allow our prosumers, we call it this way, because they produce during the sunny hours and they consume overnight if they do not have a battery. If they do have a battery, they consume and produce all the time. But we put our technology at their service so that they can really take advantage of that revenue model. What do we do? So we have like two different kind of customers, no? The first one that are like the energy freaks. It's a tiny little, almost irrelevant fraction of humankind, yeah? That are the ones that want to control through the app what is going on with their energy, whether the energy is going to produce at that time and now I put it back into the community, or am I putting it into the battery, or am I empowering up the car, and so on. No? But this is just a very tiny fraction that wants to create this own revenue model. What we do is we play the magician role. Yeah, so we create the technology that does magic for you, magic on your behalf. No, and what we do is that we do all this rationale, all this decision making that happens on an instantaneous basis, and we offer you a product that gives you tranquility and certainty that you are going to recover your investment through a cash flow. Meaning that as of today, if you install solar panels plus battery in your home, we sign off a contract with you of 5 years with zero electricity bill. Meaning that then you have full certainty that you are going to save the money that you were using until today. And with these savings, you can repay the capex, the investment that you have to make for taking profit of it.
That must be such an amazing selling point for customers, like to get customers, because it's really a zero investment for them to use your services.
It is, because the faster you can switch an OPEX for a CAPEX, given the fact that the CAPEX stays for over 40 years, the better. Yeah, because it is 100% sure that you're going to use electricity for the rest of your life, right? And it's even as sure as this 100% that the amount of electricity that you will need to use over time will increase. Meaning that the sooner you start producing and entering into this revenue model for yourself, the better, because you're going to transform a OPEX into a CAPEX. Same thing, no? If you are renting your flat, no? If you were to be able to buy out the flat for the same price that you are paying as a rent, who would say no to that, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So it seems like the rooftop revolution was a key milestone for the history of HolaLuz. What have been the other key turning points since you IPO'd in 2020 up until the rooftop revolution, or even after the rooftop revolution?
Well, we've got a number, but I would say that the first one was the rooftop revolution. This is when we really realized and we acknowledged that we were up to something big, transformational. That's why we called it revolution, because it was not about like delivering better services or better pricing, or so it was like something that really fit so perfectly into our purpose of achieving 100% green planet. And we finally got the how. No, we finally got how is it going to be our path, our steps, the steps that we need to take one after the other so that we can achieve this 100% green planet. And that was like the hugest revelation. No? Then after that, I would say that there are like some other revelations, some more connected to the financial world. But before 23, if we were to be talking by then, Claudia, I would have told you that for me, the most important thing is the why, no? Why do we do things? Or how do we execute on this why, no? Because the house normally tends to transform the why, right? So they are all connected, no? But after these 18 past months, the very only important thing that I really care about is with who we do things. Because what I'm certain now is that if you pick the right tools, if you pick the right people that you want to partner up, that you want to be part of your journey, because journeys are always very bumpy, no? So there's no case in the world where something transformational has been done that the road is not bumpy, no?
It's easy.
You threaten a lot of people, you threaten the status quo, you really change fundamental things. And sometimes it does happen into that you challenge very powerful people, no? And therefore, so it gets difficult, yeah? So when it gets difficult and bumpy, really, the only way to come across, the only way to really make it is if you picked up the right set of people to partner up with you. And this is something that I wasn't that vocal about that 5 years ago when we IPO'd the company. So, and I am now 100% vocal on that. So I would rather trade something else, but never ever the who.
So what do you exactly mean by that? Did you have any experience with a who in the past that you wouldn't repeat, and therefore that you're learning now in your Carlota of the future? Like, give us an example.
So the thing is that when everything goes well, everybody wants to think that they are fully 100% aligned with the purpose. Yeah, because when everything is easy and happy and money is flowing, of course everyone wants to be
Part of.
You really believe that are part of the purpose. But when things get hard and you need to put the purpose on at the very center of the decisions, and therefore you need to really make it a priority. And me as a founder, so I'm not up for trading the purpose at all. Then others that maybe in a certain situation they believe that they were aligned, they are not aligned anymore, and that happens a lot with investors. Yeah, because there are a set of investors that they would like to invest in impact businesses or in transformational business or in meaningful business, but only if it is an on top after making short-term profits. And sometimes it can happen, but sometimes it cannot happen, because I am of the strong belief that it's never a trade-off between profits of doing good. It's about doing good and you will get even more profits. The thing is the time framework, that it's difficult to get even more profits in the very short time, because sometimes when things get bumpy, you need to be a little patient. You need to still focus on the purpose, still focus on the things that why you are doing things. And if you are together with the right set of people, then everything is going to work well. With investors, sometimes it doesn't happen, not because they need to serve to other logics, to other they need to serve to they need to optimize for other things, no? And and it's hard because it doesn't mean that it doesn't make sense for their set of variables that they consider for taking decisions, but of course it wasn't good for us, no? And we were very clear from the very beginning, no? But at the very beginning, everybody says yes, no? And it gets to the point where the hard decision needs to be taken, and this is where you realize that the problem was the who. Yeah,
I know where you're coming from. And also, this is a thing that we discuss a lot at LSE, at our masters, which is what do you prioritize, purpose or profit? And it's a very hard decision. And I love to hear that you stuck with your purpose, because otherwise there wouldn't be HolaLuz. It would be something else.
and the thing is that we are not prioritizing profits at all. We are just caring for the profits of the midterm and the long run. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're here to stay, Claudia. So we are not here just to create some fancy technology and make things work for a while and then disappear. So we are really here to stay. We are here for the long run. We are here to execute on a different energy model that allows the planet to become 100% green, because we are working on something that is heavily and deeply transformational for humankind. No? There are different verticals in life that are really at the roots of who we are and how do we progress on the future. No? And we really believe in that commitment that we have to innovate on behalf of our customers, but not of the customers that we have today, but also of the generations to come, because we are here to set the scene and to put the stones that are going to be needed for the future generations. Profits of the next quarter, of course, are important, but cannot be traded for this long run.
Absolutely. Something that I've learned by listening to other podcasts that you've participated in is that there was a big challenge that you guys had to face at HolaLuz a few years ago, which was that other competitors got into the industry and therefore the price of energy decreased. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and what did you guys actually do to stay afloat and be where you guys are today?
So look, every industry that really has a potential for being transformational gets competitors in, no? And therefore you shall expect that you will need to differentiate yourself and create different products in the long run that will allow you to really materialize and tangibilize what is your purpose and what is your vision. Yeah. So that happened before the rooftop revolution, because again, no, when you are in an industry that really the competitive advantage that you can create is only on the cost side, meaning that putting in technology for serving customers in a more efficient way, or creating products that allow customers to be happier, and therefore they do not call up as often as before, no? And therefore, so you can reduce like the cost to serve by like building some tech or like implementing like more efficient products or more efficient processes. That's okay, but it has a limit, yeah. what we did, and that's why we've taken that decision of going all in with the Rooftop revolution, is that we found out the possibility of developing that energy management platform, that technology, to transform an industry that used to be variable cost based, meaning that doesn't matter whether you produce a kilowatt hour at zero cost. If you were to produce this kilowatt hour at zero cost centralized, and you need to use all the infrastructure for the transportation and transmission, you will still need to pay a lot of money for the usage of this infrastructure. Whereas, if we switch from this model and we complement that with this distributed generation that also plugs in the storage, then if you really are able to produce at zero cost, which is the case with solar panels, you produce at zero variable cost, then it's a capex game, as if it were before with the telco industry. 25 years ago, we were paying by the minute. We were paying by the SMS. And now you pay a flat tariff, a flat rate that allows you to have like some bandwidth with no limit in minutes and no limit in number of gigas, or a very, let's say, flexible limit on the number of data that you navigate with, right? Same thing, no? Then switching from this variable cost-based industry into this capex-based industry really creates a huge competitive advantage, because the cost for transporting this electricity is 150%, the basis cost of electricity. Meaning that this price war that you were talking before, where we were suffering like everybody else and shrinking our margins are in the range of 25 euros per megawatt hour. And the cost that we are skipping by not using the transportation network, but producing and storing distributed, the savings are 75. Then almost 3 times the margin that we were fighting to defend. Then this technology base, this new product base, allows us really to compete in a completely different scenario. And this is what allows us to offer green, cheap, and easy electricity, regardless of this price war where everybody else still is.
Thank God that you got out of that war. How many clients do you currently have?
We have more than 300,000 contracts.
Which translates into what's your annual revenue?
About 20 million per month. Recurrently.
So you guys are only present in Spain. I guess for what you said at the beginning of the conversation, it has the right characteristics to thrive. Is there the opportunity to expand to other European countries or elsewhere?
We are now in Spain and Portugal, and it is our will. It's in our DNA, to go abroad and to explore other markets. Of course, we are going to look at Europe, but also very interesting for us. Still, we don't have anything, but we have a new industrial long-term investor in our cap table that has roots in North Africa, and we would like to explore also those markets where we really believe that we can be transformational.
That's the recent round that you closed at the end of last year.
Exactly.
So it seems that it's a very strategic investment for you. Why is it strategic for them?
They really wanted to power up our energy management platform and our concept for making real for residential customers, for families, for households, to have a prominent role in the energy transition. Our strategic investor, they also have like a strong interest in the production of green gas, ammonia and hydrogen, using as primary energy renewables, so green electricity. And they are very knowledgeable about upstream processes, and we are very knowledgeable about technology. This is the thing that they fell in love with. And also with the fact that we can deliver on this downstream or B2C, creating this brand and purpose where people want to belong. And I think that really we are the perfect fit. And we are very happy to have joined forces with them and can wait to execute on what's next.
So how big was the round, and what are the first 1 or 2 things that you're doing with this inflow of capital?
It is 22 million, and the purpose of it is that to still develop in our technology and further strengthen our possibilities for opening up a way for delivering green gas to Spanish residential customers.
So we were just talking at the beginning of the conversation, or even before the conversation, how talent is key. You need people that are aligned with the mission and that are ready to fight. What are the three key elements that you hire for? Like, what are the non-negotiables?
I would say that number one is effort. So be a hard worker. So it's number one because talent is nothing. Yeah, talent is worth nothing. So what's worth is talent that it's put to work. Yeah. So then if you're somebody that knows how to read but you don't read, you really do not have any skill or capability that is extra compared to somebody that doesn't know how to read, right? So then doesn't matter how talented you are if you don't put this talent really to hard work, worth nothing. No, that's why the first thing is hard work. No, talent that really works hard. That together with resilience, because again, no, the road gets very bumpy. The visibility that we have for the next months, it can fade away. It can still be there, but it cannot. It can change. It can drop. It can get dark. And therefore, have people in the team that are resilient and are still working and still putting 100% of the effort is key. And that connects to the third one. That is the one that is on top of those two, because it's the one that makes that everything can happen. Is that focus on the purpose, right? Because if you've got like a bad season or a bad day, or something is putting you down, because of sometimes it does happen. So you need to have the ability to lift your head, look a little bit beyond, ask yourself, is it worth it still? So are we doing the right thing? So are we doing that for the right purpose? So is the world better with HolaLuz than without? Then keep rowing, right?
So, one of our goals with Reinventing Capitalism is to support young professionals in achieving their aspirations to transition to the world of impact. What would be your advice, your main number one advice for this talent to be able to action their move?
Just do it, like in Nike. So just do it. So you look for the companies that really inspire you, that you really connect to the purpose that they have, and be up for putting your brains, your joy, your hours, your passion at the service of that purpose, no, and everything else will flow, no. So 100%. So nobody that started up an impactful or purpose-driven company really did that with those words, yeah, because we are nothing but that. So we have this in the DNA, but it took us some years to realize that we were an impact company, yeah. Because that's something that you just have, and you just put it to work, and you just put it to action, yeah. So then if you are a young professional listening to this, just do it, yeah.
I love that. So you're saying that as long as you are aligned with the mission and you're ready to put on the work on a purpose that it's really close to your heart, the skill set or the fact that you come from a non-impact industry won't affect your opportunities.
Doesn't matter at all. If the spark is already in you, it means that you already belong, yeah.
Yeah. So they just need to find the way.
Exactly.
You're not only tackling the climate crisis, but also you are a gender equality advocate. So, from the outside, the energy sector looks like a very male-dominated world. I'm wondering whether if that still is, and how has your experience been as a woman in this sector?
Well, the world is made for white, straight men, let's say, from the first world, right? So then every time you do not check in one of those boxes, your life gets harder. Yeah. So, and then the different industries are only the reflection of this shape of the world. Yeah. So, and energy is one of the traditional sectors where this is like maybe the strongest, yeah, or one of the strongest. But I cannot imagine a sector where you can say, no, this is a feminist sector, woman-led. It's very difficult, no? It's still some of the sectors that we might have in mind if you dig deeper. So the decision-making processes and the share of power normally is not among a vast set of women. Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's happened, I would say, across almost all industries. Yeah. Then what do I do? No. Then I introduce positive bias. No, because this is the only way where you can disrupt the bias of a system. Because this system has this bias for whatever reason, but it does have this bias. So every system has a bias. So every system. And therefore, if you want the bias to be different and you want the bias to change, then you need to introduce positive bias. This has been done in every organization where they really achieve good quotas of gender equality. In every Ivy League school, or in every business school, top 10 in the world, or in the boardrooms of some countries. Yeah. So, and this is what we do. So we started introducing quotas because I'm very big fan of the quotas. Not because of the concept, because I hate the concept as well, like every other woman, right? But I do like the effect that the quotas cause. And I think that we are really on a rush, because I've read a paper a couple of years ago from the United Nations that said that the kids that are now joining primary school will live in an equal world in terms of gender when they are going to be 85, no? So we don't have that time.
Oh
So
my
it's
God.
possible, no? Because the bias of the system, changing the bias by introducing just natural things is very slow. Therefore, we need to disrupt. What do we do? Very easy. So in every team, we impose some quotas for having women in every decision-making position in every team. And that creates a new bias.
What do you mean by quota?
Imposing a certain number of women in a team.
So with quotas, you mean having a ratio, a controlled ratio between the men and women within a team?
Exactly. It's the percentage of people that you have in a team. So which percentage out of that is going to be women? And this is something that you need to introduce, because otherwise it doesn't happen. If you have a tech team that is 100% guys, it's going to be very difficult that first they even think about hiring a woman. And second thing, the woman wants to join that team. No?
Yeah, for sure.
Then you need to just impose this bias. Look, you are a team of 20 people, you need at least 5 women, right? Then the first one is the most difficult, but then the second one is easier because it creates a new bias. Yeah. And then the new bias has an inertia, and this inertia calls for more women, or calls for more. It doesn't happen with other collectives as well. We will need to introduce also bias on races, or on religions, or on origins. But I don't want to put the women thing into that same basket, because it's not the same. So we are not a minority. It's not the minorities thing, no, because we are half of the population, right? So, and then we first address the gender equality, and then afterwards, so we can join diversity. No, it's not about diversity. It's about gender equality, and that needs to be cared for. Yeah, if you really care for it, if you really see that the world is better when you have like a balanced team between women and men, and you need to do things to make that happen, because naturally it will not happen. No, this is this statistic from the United Nations.
Another big topic about gender equality is whether if you prioritize your professional career or being a mom. Like actually a few years ago, and this is the true story, I was at a dinner and I was seated next to this guy who I had never met before. And I was telling him about my professional ambitions, and he told me, don't give that up with a kid. So essentially telling me not to become a mom. So that made me realize that there's still people that think, I guess mainly men, that you can achieve your professional goals while being a mom. So I guess you are a very happy and full-on mother of 3 beautiful daughters. For the want-to-be moms listening to these, how can a woman do both and actually succeed at being both successful in the professional world, but also being able to be amazing moms?
So first thing is that this question is a lie, because it's not true that at a certain point you need to choose between being a mom or having a big career. That's false. It's a lie. It's a false question. So it's the problem is the question. It's not about the answer. It's a wrong question. Why? Because if you look at the world with these glasses of the white straight man, of course it looks like you need to choose either right or left. But it is not, on the contrary, because life is about improving your own skill set. It's about becoming the best version of yourself as a person. And in my point of view, and from my experience, I'm now a way better professional thanks to being a mom, in my case. I do not say that people that do not have kids cannot be great professionals. In my case, I've experienced motherhood, and I am a full-on mom, as you said. No, it's the best thing I do, and the thing that I like the most, and the thing that I put insane amount of energy. And thanks to that, I'm now a better leader, a better professional, way more creative. My negotiation skills are like 100,000% better. Yeah, so why? And how do we do that? Not because it's very easy. Why? Then the first answer to that question is that the question is wrong. Yeah. Therefore, to anybody that puts you in that position where you need to choose, why? In life, you don't need to choose whether you're going to eat meat or fish forever. No, you can change. You can choose. You can adapt. Life is very long. Yeah. So you can do a lot of things. You can be flexible. No? And then on the how, no? Okay, how do we implement that? No? When I first got my first child, that was 17 years ago, I was put at the verge of that decision exactly. Yeah? Until that point where I became a mom, I really didn't feel the downsides of being a woman, no, in the professional world. But once I got my kid, so then it was impossible to fit in, no? So it was like kind of trying to put like a ball in a square hole, yeah? I was like going around with the ball, but the ball didn't fit, no? And then I did realize that the only way that the ball could fit was by becoming smaller. And that was something that I wasn't up for, yeah? So then I'm not going to become smaller. I'm going to create a strategy. I'm going to create a structure, a company where people can be trusted and that can develop themselves to their 100% potential. And how do you do that? Very easy. You do that by setting expectations and goals on people and giving them flexibility. Flexibility is not a perk. It's not remote work. It's different. So flexibility, after COVID, it did happen that flexibility became something different. So people understood flexibility as remote work or as a perk. But it's not a perk. It's a tool for allowing to fit in the different angles of your life. Because it's about becoming a mom. It's about being able to do the sport that you like. It's about having some headspace for being creative. It's about connecting to people from other industries to get inspired. It's about a lot of things, no, to become the best version of yourself. And it's about setting clear goals, setting clear expectations on what do you expect from the people that you work with, and giving them trust and flexibility tools. And for that, if you have all these pillars, if you have all these tools, then you have no ceiling, because you're going to be measured against some honest and clear expectations with a set of agreed goals. You will be trusted, and therefore you will never be constrained to something that that you need to stick to. In fact, you will be allowed to exceed that constraint, no, because they're not going to be constrained. And if you have this flexibility tool, you will become wherever you want to, wherever you want your expectations to grow to. In fact, so sometimes I joke about this, but this is quite true. So I really decided to become an entrepreneur and have my own company because I really wanted to be a full mom. Yeah, and I didn't find by that time a place where I could do what people can do now in HolaLuz.
Solving your own problem for other women must be very rewarding.
Well, it was something that for me was essential, no? On the how we started the company and that we configured it, how do we set the company up? By that time I was 30, no? And I really felt the responsibility of doing something, of taking some steps that somebody could inherit afterwards. So I needed to be, because in life, Claudia, you're either part of the solution or you become part of the problem sooner than later. Therefore, if you really suffer the situation that is a problem and you really recognize that this is a problem, you need to do everything to make this problem disappear and be part of the solution. And that was something that I had so rooted in myself, no? And of course, it is rewarding. It is. And one of the things that makes me prouder is that we really show, after those 13 years that we have been operating with HolaLuz, that is in fact very possible, completely possible.
Unfortunately, we're getting to the end of the conversation. I have 3 last quick questions for you. You are considered one of the top founders in Spain. And as a woman leader, it seems like that is a lot of responsibility. Do you feel that pressure at all?
Sometimes, yes. Yeah. But it really helps me also, no? Because one of my superpowers is never give up. I'm a never surrender. And feeling this responsibility sometimes allows me to power up that superpower.
So yes.
So yes.
And you are an inspiration to many because of this. Who inspired you instead?
I have a lot of people who inspires me because I have people around. If you take the time to look around you, you will find awesome people around you that really make a difference. To pick the most important ones are my parents, for sure. My mom, she's a fighter. Today, she would be considered a social entrepreneur. By that time, never had those words to identify what my mom did. And my father is also an entrepreneur. By the time, they call them just business people. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the way they educated my siblings and myself, so with this conscious that everything is possible in life and that we have no limitations and that we back up each other and we support each other, that's really a gift that I'm now passing to my kids.
As a last question, I always love to ask the leaders that I get to interview what are their views on the future of their industries. So I would love for you to imagine that you're looking into a crystal ball that shows you the future. What do you hope to see in the world of energy and renewables in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I would love to see, and I think that this is what we're going to become, that we are really leading the energy transition, not only in Spain, Portugal, but in other countries in Europe and potentially in North Africa. That we do this leadership with joy, with optimism, using the state of art of technology and being at the forefront of developing that technology at the service of the generations to come. And that it's not only us, no, because now we feel a little bit alone, no, because we are the only ones like they're fighting for this, but we've become a bigger movement where other companies have joined, and therefore the solution is way closer, no, and that for sure in 10 years climate change will be something that we've left in the past.
How close are we to have consumers understand the importance of renewable energy? Like, how have we changed consumer behaviors up to this point? Like, where's the balance? More towards people that believe in renewables and believe that we need to act on climate change, or there's still a lot of people that neglect it?
So I would say that it got to a point where nobody can neglect that climate change is happening. So because we feel it in our skins on a day-to-day basis, no, it's not like 20 years before that you need to trust some data from a lab that were showing that the ice on the glaciers was melting, but now you feel it on your skin, and therefore I think that this acknowledgement is everywhere. There's also a challenge now because now it's like kind of we are at a little bit at a regression point, yeah. From other topics as well, and not only about climate issues, but also about other topics, not human rights or immigration, or how do we make this earth a place where we all could live, no? Which is like super easy, no? In practice, and therefore, so I'm a bit concerned about that. But I'm also a person of hope, no? And I really think and believe, and I've experienced myself, that common sense things, sometimes it takes a little bit longer than expected. Sometimes it takes like very painful periods that it did happen in the history, but finally they fall, or they fall and they root, no? And I think that this is something that we are walking that path. On the other hand, it is so easy to fix climate change, so it is so convenient, no? And that's why we also take on this responsibility on creating products where people can become a hero from the comfort of their couches. Yeah. So when we make that happen, when we make that magic happen, then it doesn't matter whether you do that because you're really conscious about being part of the solution for fixing climate change. It might be because you only want to save money. It's okay, but you're still part of the solution. And that's why companies like ours, we need to enable that people can do that by doing the magic on their behalf.
Thank you, Carlota. Thank you for your time. And I do wish you all the best with everything that will happen to you in 2025.
Thank you, Claudia. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.